I want to let you in on a little secret. When I'm not traveling to Las Vegas, or podcasting about Las Vegas, or watching movies about Las Vegas, I like to read about Las Vegas. And over the last several years of doing this podcast, I've been fortunate enough to talk to some very cool authors who've written amazing books about the city, including its people and its history. I thought it might be fun to take a little trip down memory lane and reshare some of those conversations with you. Maybe even give you some ideas for titles to add to your own personal Las Vegas library. My name is Jeff, the host of Jeff Does Vegas, and this is a little something I like to call Vegas Book Club. This time around on Vegas Book Club, we're going all the way back to episode number 25 of the podcast and my conversation with Steve Cyr, who happens to be the subject of the book Whale Hunt in the Desert by Deke Castleman. Steve is a casino host in Las Vegas, but he's not just any casino host. Steve is a member of the very elite group of hosts who deal exclusively with whales. Not familiar with the term whale? Allow me to explain. Whales are the extreme high roller VIPs who spend massive sums of money. It's not uncommon for them to drop upwards of $1 million over the course of a weekend in Vegas. To get them and their giant bank accounts to come to town, casino hosts will hook them up with lavish comps, like flights on private jets, limo service to and from the casino, high-end suites and villas, ringside seats to boxing matches and UFC events, and pretty much anything else you can imagine. Steve is the guy who makes all of that happen. Steve and I talked about his early days in the casino business, how he managed to reinvent the way hosting was being done in Las Vegas, and some of the more bizarre requests he's gotten from his clients. Please enjoy my conversation with Steve Cyr.
When I first started my career 30 years ago, pretty much only gamblers came here. Gambler and show. Now it's Celine Dion, and I want to see a Cirque show, or I want to go to an amazing restaurant. And I always use my parents as a barometer. My mom and dad used to get off the plane from Salina, Kansas, actually from Wichita. And what did they do while we were waiting for the bags and the baggage claim? They play the slots. Uh-huh. Now they play slots in Wichita, Kansas. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So gambling isn't as big a deal anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to talk about with you, I mean, for those that don't know, you are the guy.
For gamblers.
For gamblers. As you know, everybody puts it, you're the guy with the juice in town.
Yeah. I said that once when I first came to Vegas. I had no juice. Now I am the juice, and that has stuck with me. But yeah, I'll take that. You know, if you're a gambler, I am the guy. After 33 years of taking care of gamblers, it's what I do. If you're going to play, you might as well have like an agent. You know, I tell people you wouldn't go into divorce court without a good attorney. Well, if you're a big gambler, and when I mean big, 25,000 and up, you need somebody to negotiate your deal. Uh-huh. Because you can play blackjack at a lot of places, you know. But can you split aces 4 times? Are you getting the best deal? Can you double down after a split? We have a mathematical advantage anyway on every game, so you might as well get the best deal.
Uh-huh. You talk about, I mean, growing up in Kansas, that was where you started.
Salina, Kansas.
Small town?
But actually born in Mound Ridge, 700, then grew up in Salina, about 40,000, yeah.
Yeah.
2 high schools, and I ended up at UNLV. I was supposed to go back and run my dad's Howard Johnson Motel. Uh-huh. Thank God I didn't. And it just didn't work out that way. I ended up at UNLV because Cornell and Oklahoma State and every other hotel school rejected me. UNLV had a great program, and they said, bring your 1.9 GPA from Kansas State, and we will put you on academic probation. You have to have a 2.2 to stay in the hotel casino college. And it took me 4 years and 3 summers, and I graduated with a 2.3.
And from there, you were lucky enough to just kind of, you got in the business.
Yeah, well,
immediately.
It was UNLV, my internship. I had accepted a job to go back to Omaha, Nebraska, and be in the Marriott training program for $24,000 a year, 1986. And my senior year, I took an internship class, and I knew I hated the front desk and night audit. You know, they move you every couple of weeks, but I loved the blackjack pit, and I loved the dice pit. And I love being in the sports book, and they got paid to, you know, I was the marker kid because I was the grunt, you know, and changed the line. That was before electronic boards. And so there were 2 weeks left in my internship, and Mr. Gahn, the owner, said, we're going to do surveillance. Now, this is before the eye in the sky. So we were literally on a catwalk, lying down. This story's in my book, Whale Hunt in the Desert. And I'm looking down at a dice game, and they had like microphones coming down. And this guy came up, and he bought in for like $6,000, which to me was like, $6 million. Played for a while, and he was up about $40,000. And this guy came over in a suit, and we could hear him was like, "What? No, flamingo bullshit. You're eating here. First of all, we're going to show you the penthouse, and I'm going to take you to Michael's tonight, our steakhouse." And I go, "Mr. Gahn, what does that guy do?" He goes, "Well, that's Kevin, my casino host." And I go, "What's his job?" "To keep him at $40,000 here." And I go, "I want to do what he does." I finished my internship. I started the next 2 days later. Mr. Gahn called over as a cash host at Caesar's Palace, which meant I was in the dice pit. If you bought in for $200 or more, "Hey, I'm Steve Cyr, and I was supposed to invite you back the next day to the champagne brunch." That's how I got my first players. That's how I started.
That's amazing.
And I called my mom and said, I'm going to cancel the Marriott training program. She was upset, and she goes, "Well," this is in 1986. She goes, "Well," and she was pissed. And she was like, "Well, I hope you like Las Vegas. I know you hate the cold. The only other state you can even work in, Steve, is New Jersey." I love my mom, but I used to kid her for years. And I'm like, the only place I can't work now is Utah and Hawaii. I picked a career. Just like marijuana's coming and sports betting, and 30 years later, 46 states adopted it. Other than Utah and Hawaii, I rep now in 9 different states.
So you're, the big thing for you, where you kind of grew yourself was here in Vegas. But now, like you say, you're everywhere.
I'm one-stop shopping for the gambler.
Yeah.
And I represent casinos in the Atlantis, the Baja Mar, and I represent casinos, the Barona and Viejas in California, and I represent Norwegian Cruise Line. So you're freezing your balls off in New York, go on a cruise. It's 10 days. No one goes home winter. It's a beautiful thing. How many T-shirt shops can you stop at? So if you go on a cruise, baby, just write the check.
Yeah.
And every jurisdiction is different. I have to get licensed. I went through in 1999 after being fired for the 7th time. That's not funny, and he kind of chuckled. But
I don't mean to laugh. It's a funny,
I got my junket
thing,
license. Yeah. It cost $38,000 in 1999. I've never been arrested or in trouble in my life. I've only lived 2 places: Salina, Kansas, 19 years; Clark County, Nevada, now 36 years. That's it. And I had to pay for the Nevada Gaming Control Board to go back and interview my high school teachers. It's a privilege. I can earn off a theoretical loss, not to get too technical for your audience, in this state. And other losses, in other states, it's easy. California's 10% loss. They win, I get nothing. Mm-hmm. They lose, I get 10%. So if you win in Nevada and lose in California. Mm-hmm. In Nevada, I actually hope you win. Why? Because what happens when you win? You bet more, you play longer, hence higher theoretical loss. That's like everyone listening's probably got a slot card someplace. You said you play little slots.
Sure.
You put your card in, maybe put in $40. You break even for a while, you go home, win or lose, but then you get something in the mail or an email, and you get a comp. Uh-huh. Why? Because we know theoretically we have a mathematical edge, and you theoretically should have lost $200, and we're going to give you a room when it's 110 out, and we're at 50% occupancy on those 150,000 rooms. Uh-huh. What's a room to us? A maid to clean it. It's $32,
right,
to turn it. That's it. Now, New Year's Eve, of course, we can rent it for $500, different story, but it's a Tuesday in August, and there's no fights going on and no NFL, and we're dead. Of course we'll give you a room. You're going to go buy a beer, or we're going to give you a free beer. And I love that when people say, well, at least we're drinking for free. Dude, you had an $80 Budweiser.
Yeah.
Your girl had a $60 glass of wine. I would say, Steve, comp my room. On Expedia, it was $39.95 plus resort fee. You just lost $800. Well, he gave us some fight tickets. Again, on StubHub, they were $200, but you lost $1,500. I'm all smoke and mirrors. That's my whole career. It's, it's the cost of it. Now, you might win, and I told my players 2 things, because I'm going to get a million calls from when I do radio, TV, your podcast. Hey, can you be my host? Listen, give me a shot at some money. Even if you win, you play 3 to 4 hours a day, I will comp you. And there's different levels. You should bet 1% of what you bring. You bring $10,000, you better be at the $100 table. If you bring $10,000, you're at the nickel $25 table. Dude, I don't care how unlucky you are, you're never going to lose $10,000.
Yeah.
So a slot player, it's great. You put the slot card in. I know how you play. I know if you play correctly. I know and that's why you earn points. But you can't just go on points, or they wouldn't need hosts. Mm-hmm. Maybe a guy. Look, my first mentor, this is what he made me do. He goes, how much money is a lot to you? And I said, I don't know, $500-600. He goes, bring it tonight. We went to play craps, and I was stuck like $450. This is with Michael gone. And we went downtown to the Four Queens. And then I fired back, and I got even. He goes, see that feeling? He goes, I'm still would comp you because you're risking the money. You either lose or give me a shot at the money. A guy comes in, and, you know, he plays you 500 a hand. He only plays an hour for 3 days. Dude, pay for your room. Mm-hmm. I need 3 to 4 hours a day of play. We know the math will work out. If you win, God bless you. And so people always email me, well, what do I get for if I bring $2 to $3 grand? Not much, maybe a room, you know. And is that $2 to $3 grand for shows and concerts and dining and strip clubs, or is it just for gambling? Mm-hmm. No, my gambling bankroll is $3 grand. Well, I'm going to comp you at least 10 to 15% of that, so that's $300 to $450, or 30% of your theoretical loss. So I'd at least get you a standard room, comp it, and maybe one night Benihana or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you're at the $5,000 to $10,000 range, now we're talking mini suite, a little bit bigger, and you should bet 1%, $50 to $100 a hand. If you play that for 3 or 4 hours a day, you're theoretically risking $5 to $10 grand. And of course, I'm going to comp your room and some food. It's $32 a day to clean it, not New Year's Eve. Now, if you get the 15 to 25 guy, now we're talking about limo picks you up at the airport. Wife can go to the spa. Some more harder costs. The softest cost I have is that room. Uh-huh. You know, if you're at Caesars and you want to go to Bruno Mars at the MGM, I have to pay hard money. I've got to go buy you a ticket. It's really $140 to me. So you better be a guy that's going to risk 10 to 15 grand, and then I'll do that for you. And I negotiate for him up front. Uh-huh. You know, most big players, especially $50,000 and $100,000 players, and I don't have thousands of players. I have 70 right now, and that makes me Michael Jordan. I have 70 active guys that'll blow or risk on a weekend $100 grand to say $250. Then a whale, everyone thinks is $1 million player. A whale, you could be from LA, but you come once a month with $100 grand. My biggest female player comes once a month. She plays roulette, bless her heart. I wish you should mail your money in. And she'll risk it every month. So to me, that's give me a shot at $1 million a year. That's a whale.
Yeah.
And then I have 7 guys that will do $1 million to $5 million on a weekend. And they're a lot of work and a lot of fun. And a third of my customers are really rich, like Larry Flint. That's not a secret. That's in my book. Mm-hmm. And if he loses $1 million, it's not going to affect him. He's a billionaire with a B. And then the other third of my players should not be gambling. They're the funnest. They're the ones that hang out the most, but I'm going to burn them out. Yeah. They're going to be done. Then the other third, as their age and wealth increases, their gaming increases. So my biggest player now, I'm 55. I met him when I was 22 and he was 22, and nobody wanted him at Caesars because this young guy, we'll call him Mr. S. He lives in L.A. And he would bring 50 grand. Now that's his first bet. As his age and wealth has increased, and he has become a billionaire too, his gambling's increased. Mm-hmm. And he's very methodical. You know, this much is for investments, this much is for my business, this much is for fun. Everybody does it. Yeah. And that's the key. Have a budget. I don't care if you're a guy that brings $500 or $50,000, have a budget. Mm-hmm. It's the cost of entertainment. Don't, you know, we call them rounders, and you're here in the movie because we give out casino credit, and a guy has a $5,000 line at Caesars, but then he gets one at Bally's and Mirage, and there's a show at the Hard Rock, and now he's got 4 $5,000 credit lines. Well, dude, if you lose them all in one trip, who are you going to pay first? Because remember, in my state, it's a felony. Mm-hmm. That marker is a fancy word for check. So be careful before you start taking casino credit in Nevada. In California, we can just drag your TRW. In Nevada, we pick your ass up. I had a girl, sad story, really pretty girl, 37 years old, Miss D, we'll call her. She owed $4,000, and I'm like, Angie, just pay. I just said her first name. Angie, just pay me $500 a month. You know, $300, something. After 6 months, it goes stale. I got to dump them to the district attorney's office, and they don't go after her, but they put a bench warrant out. We have a separate division in Clark County, just check fraud, which is marker, which is casino credit. She's speeding in L.A. Her 7-year-old's in the back. Boo! Bench warrant out in Nevada. She sits 4 days on a bus. Child goes to child protective custody. Then she hits a weekend. 9 days later, she had the money on, but it doesn't matter. She had to pay 10% more of the DA, so that $4,000 was $4,400. Then she goes back home and gets her kid, who's been in child protective custody now for 2 weeks.
Jesus,
it's a real thing. Other state, we're the only state that recognizes gambling as a real debt, other than civil. Mm-hmm. To us, it's criminal. 4 $1,000 markers. 4 felonies. Now, she paid the margin. Now she's still got to go criminally. It's 3 months a marker. She could do another year in jail. Probably won't. She paid it. Boom. But yeah, it's a real big deal. So I don't know if you remember years ago when Charles Barkley, who's a great guy, he owed Mandalay Bay money, and this was right before the NBA playoffs, and they had, arrested him and that. And he's like, I didn't know. Charles, you knew. We don't go to the DA unless it's last resort. And I've testified in 30 of those cases over my year. Yeah. So we give you credit. It's a real thing. You got to pay it.
That was one of the things in reading the book that I found was really interesting was, and I guess maybe there's this a reputation from movies and TVs, and we'll just get you more money. We'll just get you more money. There's countless examples in the book where you said no to people.
Yeah. That's a very good point. And, I think most people think a casino executive, we say yes. No, you can't have more credit. No, you can't have more tickets. No, I can't extend you 3 days. No, you can't have another month to pay. No, I can't get 8 more people into the show. Are you crazy? We say no all day.
Yeah.
It's not just yes. I love the ones you can say yes. The $1 million player, like I said, he gets 5 tickets to the fight because he didn't ask for 6. Those are easy. But the day-to-day guys, and they grind, and you guys, you're so used to comps, and they become just whores with it, And we say no a lot, especially to credit. It just, a guy's on a bender. And early in my career, to be honest, did I burn a lot of players out? Of course. I mean, you had a driver's license, I was giving you $10,000. I was 26 years old, I could go up to like $250,000. I used to say, if there's ink in my pen, I'll give you credit. I've grown up a lot. And as a rep and not an employee, I don't get paid. This is important until the markers are paid. As an employee, you owe $5,000, you're late, it'll go to collections, whatever. I get my little check every 2 weeks. As a licensed junket rep, the casinos will not pay me until markers are clear. That's why I hope you win, and I get paid the next month.
Sure, yeah.
A guy loses $100,000, I give him 2 months to pay. He loses it Super Bowl, February. He pays April, May. I get paid in June. So I have to wait for my money a lot of times. That's why I like 9 casinos, because somebody's paying me every month.
The other thing I found interesting in the book, too, was when you talked about, people would ask you and be like, oh, it depends on the weather.
Wow, you really read the book.
I did read the book.
That's just an old line that my mentor, when I started at Caesars, I was the youngest host by 32 years. They were my age. I was 22. They were 54, 55. So, one old pit boss, he's not with us anymore, but he used to always tell customers, that depends on the weather. Whether or not I want to do it or not. Fuck you, it's kind of thing. So, I still say that a lot. I've got a lot of old school in me. I think I was maybe like an era too short. I would have loved the Rat Pack days where the pit boss was king and the casino host was king. Again, now I'm one of the older ones. When I started at 22, I was the youngest by 30 years. And I was a telemarketer, and that's why they put me in. I was like, hey, can I have a list of players that haven't been in a year? Average bet, I don't know, $100 from California that like golf. Because I knew boom, I would telemarket them. Hey, Mr. W, is Steve Cyr from Caesars. When are you going to be in town again? And my goal on the phone wasn't to book them. When are you going to be in town? And my bosses at Caesars were cool, and I could leave property. You're in town? Oh, you're over at Mirage? Oh, come over and buy you a beer. Cool. Yeah. Oh, you're at the Desert Inn? Oh, so I could leave. And I still do that. I still hustle players that way.
And I mean, I think for me, one of the most fascinating parts of the book, too, was just seeing how you kind of changed how hosting was being done. I mean, those guys.
Thanks, I'll take that.
Well, those guys were you call them limp dicks.
They just sit in the office.
They would sit there. They weren't hustling. They weren't really doing anything.
Guys would come over to see Wayne Newton and lose 20, 30 grand. You figure that's what he's got in his pocket. I bet he's got a $100,000 credit line. They wouldn't go out. I was the first one to start with, look, if somebody buys in, it was for my cash host days, remember the $200 buy-in? I'd make it $1,000. Anybody buys in for $1,000, they don't have a card, beat me. Then it was beepers. Beat me, I'm coming. They would just say pit 1, pit 2, or pit 3. Where is he? Boom, he's over there. Dude, I mean, he just threw out $1,000. He didn't ask for anything. He's going to have $1,000 cocktail is what it could happen if he gets stuck. He's just waiting for the show. He's bored. His wife wants to go see Wayne Newton, whatever.
Right.
And I would hustle them. And so, and then I even put in the book in 2010, we had Santana was our house band at the Hard Rock. And I love this story because it just tells how stupid Caesars was. We have what's called billbacks. You're a big player. I don't have Santana, but I want to take care of you. So as a director or vice president, we'd have a list. And, this is Mr. Smith from Caesars. I've got my player coming over. and Mr. Cook, and he wants 4 tickets to Santana and give him $1,000 comp. Well, I would teach the girls in VIP. I say, to identify him, I just need his date of birth. Because be honest, driver's license. With date of birth and name, I can run what's called a central credit, if you read the book, which is like the TRW of gaming. And now I know exactly how Mr. Cook plays. I know he's a 50 line. He owes $35,000. 2 months ago or New Year's Eve, he lost $60,000 at Lake Tahoe and that. And so I do the same routine every night. And again, this was in the book. It's not a secret, and I still do it. The girls in VIP would give me then Mr. Cook's tickets. And I always had Skybox 3 for every Santana show, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. And so, big player always comes, a little late. He's kind of panked, goes to VIP. I'm sorry, what was your name? I don't see the tickets. I'd train the girls. And every time I'd score, they'd get $20 each out of my pocket, not the Hard Rocks. And so let me call the host on duty. I'd walk in my suit. Hey, Mr. Cook, Steve Cyr. I don't know, fuck that. Come on, I remember you. 'Cause you were at Tahoe last New Year's. I was there too, because on the Central.
Sure, yeah.
There's a little bullshit there. And then I'd already run your Central, so I had your player card in me. Come on, now remember, Caesars is paying for this. Come on, come up to my Skybox. Give him a bottle of Dom. Caesars is paying for this. Now, hey, you know what we're going to do right after? We're going to go meet Santana, and we're going to get you a signed guitar, because I remember how big a player you are. So you'd get a signed guitar, or Santana's Congo is sitting right behind you there. For our listeners, it's in my house. But and so now he feels obligated to me and say, hey, dude, do me a favor. I got you $25,000. I just need to copy your driver's license. Go down and make a little play for me. Boom, new player. Pissed off at his host there. Thinks I'm the hero. And that's how I get players. And then I earned 16% of his theoretical loss. So I'd pay the girls in VIP and I still do that shit today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really changed it. I was more aggressive. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have players, and players are power in our business. And now, of course, I have a ton. I've lost a lot of players. I lose 20% of my database every year because they're sick of gambling, they're broke, or they're sick of Steve. The third one doesn't happen often, but it happens. And so I'm still doing it, and I like the business. I get a charge every time I walk through a casino. I'm sure you do too, right?
Yeah.
Or just Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, you walk into the place, and it's just, you get that feeling.
But you have casinos in Canada.
Yeah, it's not the same, though.
Why?
It just doesn't, because it's Canada.
Atmosphere?
It's the atmosphere. It's just a different feeling in a Vegas casino. It's bigger, it's brighter, it's more exciting. There's such a cross-section of people there that are just so different from...
People watching is key.
People watching is... I mean, for me, it's like I say, it's food and shows, but it's also the people watching. I mean, if you can, if you can grab a 50-cent beer at the Bird Bar, the Flamingo, and stand on the strip and just watch things go by, you are going to see shit that you do not see anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, it's fascinating.
My cousin is staying with me this summer, and he made that comment too. He goes, man, it's a lot cheaper to do things here than I thought it would be. Just that stereotype. And of course, Celine Dion and the O shows, and they are expensive.
Sure.
There's no doubt. But I can go see Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns on Monday night for $10, and it's a combination of Celine Dion's horn players and Jerry Lopez and people from Donnie and Marie show and Santana's drummers, and they're kind of like a Earth, Wind, and Fire funk, and it's $10.
Yeah.
You can go see Friday Night Fights for $20 live on CBS. UFC Tough Enough fights or amateur Tough Enough fights, $15. I mean,
you can walk into somewhere like Cleopatra's Barge on in Caesars and
love that
David Perico pop strings and see performers that are
that's a ship that moves in the water for our listeners inside
for 2-drink minimum. You can sit there and see the backup singer for Rod Stewart and the string players for Celine Dion and the guitarist for Bruno Mars.
That's what Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns is. They get together on Mondays and jam.
It's such a like I say, you see stuff here that you're not going to see anywhere else, and that's one of the
a lot of girls
one of the things
too,
there's
for the single men out there.
For the single ladies, a lot of guys.
Our host
too,
is married and talked about his wife a lot at lunch, so I know he's in love. 20 years,
yeah, most of them happy, as I like to say. She doesn't appreciate it though when I go around and introduce her as my first wife. She has a real problem with that for some reason. I don't know why.
No, but she's maybe people don't get it. I like it. This is my first wife.
This is my first wife. 20 years of marriage. I think I'll keep her for now anyways.
Well, and last,
Yeah. First and last. We'll go with that. Yeah.
We'll give her a plug.
You pissed off a lot of people when you started doing this hosting thing.
I've been fired 9 times for a reason, and some of the hosts, I would say half of them, there's about 700 in town, half of them love me, half of them hate me. The ones that have worked with me, I think, appreciate how hard I work and my tenacity, but I say acquire, or they use the word stolen some players, but it's competition. Hey, you want Larry Flint's cell number? I'll give it to you. Good luck. Mm-hmm. I think you just have to have that confidence in yourself, and I've kind of reinvented myself over the years. I haven't been a stick in the mud, and I network constantly. When I go to the Indy 500, I'm having fun, or the opening of Del Mar Racetrack, but I know the guys at the $100 windows at Del Mar, and I'm buying them lunch and saying, hey, who are your players? And I constantly am trying to, it's almost like a curse, because when I go to a party sometimes and everyone knows that's how I am, like, oh, Steve, I want you to meet this guy. I'm like, dude, I don't want to meet any more people. I am fried. I don't want to meet anyone. I'm trying to get laid tonight. That's what my goal is, so.
Is there still a lot of that whole stagnant attitude in Vegas, do you think? Yeah, it's still a problem.
And complacency. And, look, you can be a dealer at, Bellagio and take home $70,000 a year. And some people work to live and some live to work. I love the different challenges, and that's why I do everything from, being a minister to amateur boxer to work for 9 casinos. So I'm a little bit different. I only sleep 4 or 5 hours a day. Ever. I mean, since a teenager. So I know I'm a little different. And I think I tell people, I have a beautiful daughter that just graduated from University of Oregon, and a divorce made me a better father, because Sunday, Monday, and part of Tuesday I was just dad, and the other 4 nights a week I could be an orangutan and be out till 5 in the morning at the strip club. So I think I spent more quality time than, I think Savannah would agree with that, than most fathers that come home for an hour here in the daytime. I mean, we had no distractions. I lived in California 3 days a week for 16 years.
Doing this job, I mean, you talk about living to work versus working to live. Is it a 24/7 gig?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My phone's never off. I mean, gamblers don't, it's not 9 to 5. Gamblers don't, you can't pick and tell them when to gamble. I mean, they're going to go when they want. And they're going to, especially rich people are spoiled. They call Friday when it's a big Mayweather fight. We got no rooms left. Oh, yeah, I'll be in tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Pick me up. Shit, well, I don't have any rooms. I have to bump somebody. And we don't, in my business, a lot of businesses, we treat every player like a high roller. We treat every player the same. No, not every player gets the ringside tickets and 8 o'clock dinner and meet and greets to the entertainer. So we don't treat every player the same. And you might have booked it from Montana 3 years ago. You got bumped because my big guy that just lost $80,000 needs 2 more rooms, and you're gone, and we're walking you to Super 8, and I don't give a shit. So Bill Gates is at the Hilton. This is a true story. It's in the book. Do you remember this story?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so, he's paying $10,000. This is in like 98. He's paying $10,000 a night for the Verona Villa, which was 15,000 square feet. My house here now is 2,800 square feet, and it's big. So 15,000 square feet. Bill Gates is the keynote speaker at CES. That's the Consumer Electronics Show every January.
Yeah.
And that is Sunday through Thursday. So Mr. G checked in Sunday, was supposed to check out Thursday. Well, Thursday morning, he goes down to VIP and says, yeah, extend me 2 nights. They said, it's 10,000. Okay. So I tried to call him. No one's in the room. I had to go up and knock on the door. Hey, Mr. G, Steve Cyr. Listen, sir, we'll get you another Sky Villa or a mini villa. And you know what? I'll even comp it, but I need you to move tonight. I have a player coming in. And he goes, charge me $12,000. And he closed the door. Well, I had to knock again on the door. I said, hey, Mr. G, you don't understand. I said, I'm putting a player in this room. He goes, hey, I'm already here. Just put him in another room. And he started to close the door, and I put my hand there, and I said, you don't understand. We have 2 choices. I said, either pack or security moves your fucking ass now. And that's a quote from Steve Cyr. And I put that in the book, and no one's ever disputed it. And he goes, well, why can't I just stay? I go, because my guy's first bet's going to be $50,000. I have to make a business decision for Baron Hilton. I said, do I want you paying 10, 12, or 15 grand a night, or a guy that's first bet is twice that? I got a shot at $2 million. Now, he might win, but I know you're not going to lose. So I said, we're moving you right now. And I kicked him out. And it was really cool. He was pissed. He went over to Caesars, got another villa. They wrote a letter. But, I mean, I'm doing my job. Wow. He was booked Sunday to Thursday. It's Thursday, dude. I have one room that's 15,000 square feet. My guy's going to bet 50,000 and or he's going to go take his $2 million to another casino. He wants the Verona. His wife loves it. You're out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough business decision, but not to me. It was an easy business decision.
Well, and I guess it's
he's not a risk taker.
Yeah. Well,
he didn't want to gamble.
And for you, it would be balancing that risk versus, balancing friendship or niceness. I mean, there's not a lot of people in the world, I would think, that could say they told Bill Gates to move his fucking ass.
Yeah. I said, we got to go because I'd rather Bill be mad at me than my player.
Yeah.
That's my livelihood. Plus that, makes my numbers for the quarter. Everyone knows, $2 million guy coming in, he was firing. This is in 98, and he's still around now. He's one of my biggest players now. So it's cool. That's the guy that, as his age and wealth increased, his gaming increased.
We talked a little bit. We went out for lunch before we started doing the interview. We were talking a little bit about, how it is you get paid, because you're essentially getting a percentage on, and we talked earlier here about, potential losses versus actual losses.
Correct.
And so you're getting paid on a percentage of that, and that's coming straight from the casinos.
Correct. So what's cool is I'm just a broker. I'm a weenie. If a guy wins $1 million, the casino pays him. If he loses $1 million, he has to pay the casino. I'm like your stockbroker. Mm-hmm. I get action on the trades, and the trades here are hands played or dice rolled or slot handles pulled. Mm-hmm. So and once a player is coded to me, he's mine for a year. So I only get paid for newer and active. Like, we could be best friends, but you played at Hard Rock 2 weeks ago, I don't get paid. You have to be 1 year and active. So I only get paid. So I increase your bottom line. Yeah, you have to pay me a lot, but you want an extra $2-3 million to your bottom line? Well, then you hire Steve Cyr. There you go. I only get paid for newer and active. So I can't steal what you already have. I can't go down and hand out business cards in the pit. I have in the past and got in trouble for it. But because I want to take you other places. And that's my advantage over, say you're a nice $50,000 player. You lost $50,000. Well, you're not going to go back there for a month or two because, one, you got to pay them back, but you still want to gamble. See, I can take you multiple places. Or let's say I'm at a place, and I'll tell you a story that happened a couple months ago, right before my cousin came to stay with me. I had a guy come to town, played his ass off, and he won $300,000. I maxed out at $10,000 commission because he was a $200,000 player, and most I can make is 5%, $10,000. But he had 2 days left. He's like, I go, well, you're a winner now. You should, I don't know, take at least $100,000 home. I go, no, I couldn't make it. It doesn't matter if he played another 50 hours, lost it. I'm not making any more than $10,000. I go, well, why don't we go to Verona? Go up to San Diego, go see, Gaslamp District, it's fun there. They have a Nobu there. All right. So Verona sends a plane. We go up there. He loses $200,000. There I get 10% loss. So I made $20,000 there. He shakes my hand because he won he's taking $100,000 home. He had a blast. We went out to all the bars, all the good stuff. I made $10,000 in Vegas, $20,000 there. I make $30,000. He goes home with $100,000. Everybody's happy. Except the place where he won. The $300,000, but yeah. So so I'm not really a house guy in that scenario. Uh-huh. So if a guy's playing terrible and he's splitting tens, I'm gonna say, like, Mr. W, we need to go up to your room because you don't know how to fucking play blackjack, and we're gonna have a little lesson. Okay, you know what I mean, guys? Oh, I feel. I don't care how you feel. I mean, 12 against a 12, you got to hit it.
Yeah.
You don't want to, and there's more tens in there, but 12 against a 12, you have to hit it. You have to take a card. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have 15 and they have a bus card. You can't hit it. Let them take the 10. I don't care what you feel. Why don't I have 13? Well, he's got 6, so you have to assume 16. I know then he turns over a 5 and he gets a 10, but it doesn't. It's math. Mm-hmm. It's math. I mean, it is a right and wrong decision every time, and so it's tough to. My dad used to say, if you could OD on oxygen, you'd be tripping over bodies. Just some people you just can't help them. Mm-hmm. I try. I want them to have a good time. And just vice versa. A guy comes and blows $10,000 in 2 minutes. That doesn't help me. I'm on theoretical here. I need you to play more. Mm-hmm. So don't come and be drunk and just bet your bankroll in 2 hands. That's only in the movies.
Yeah. Yeah, walking up and dropping the $10,000 single hand of blackjack is not.
No,
it's not helping you. It's not helping the player.
No.
It's not. You don't look like a high roller. You just look like a guy dropping $10,000 on a hand of blackjack.
Yeah, but bet it when you have house money, then press. Or how about this? How about when a guy he's lost 6 hands in a row? I can't lose now, and he pushes a bunch out. Dude, I can flip a coin 80 times. If it's heads every time, it's still 50-50. On the 81st roll, heads or tails. It's a big bell curve.
Yeah.
Okay, when you win, press your money. When you have our money, press your money. When you lose, go back to your 1 unit. If you bet $5 a hand, 5. You win, go to 10. You're up, go to 15. Now you lose, go back to 5. Mm-hmm. And then you get the negative progression guys, the guys that bet 5 and then 10 and 20 because they're going to win the one big hand. Yeah, that doesn't work either. I mean, people try it, but just believe me, I've watched it for 30 years.
How much of this is an ego game? Not for you, but for the people that are coming to you.
I just screamed in the mic and in your ears. Yeah, all. It's all ego. Look, the star is the king in Hollywood. My star, I'd rather have the construction worker with $5,000 that's going to fire it up at the tables. I'm meeting him at the door. He's checking into VIP. He's not waiting in line. Again, he's the star. Mm-hmm. How we treat the stars, and stars, for the record, are stiffs. I know, yes, we need them sometimes, but they want the big rooms and they don't play much. And yeah, Michael Jordan, yeah, you'll see in my book, and that because Michael would lose $200,000 or $300,000, which is a miscellaneous. That's why we call him Michael Jordan, not because he's Michael. He would gamble. He's a risk taker. So that's why I think people do it. It's the ego. They're on stage. You're at the blackjack table. They're winning. They make the big sports bet. They go up to cash out. Oh, didn't everybody bet that today? Everybody talks afterwards. It's just like a golfer. I'm going to tell you about the 2 holes that I parred. What about the other 8 holes where I lost a ball, picked up, and I shoot 123? No, man, I parred 17 and 18, shot a 126, but that kind of thing.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys that they could buy tickets.
Absolutely.
Ringside to a UFC fight. They could buy their way into a strip club. This is not, but they're coming to you for these things.
They want it free. They're complimentary. The word complimentary is such a beautiful thing. Yeah. And, look, there are good stories too. Guy comes in, takes out 10 or 15 grand, gets everything comp, goes home with 30 or 40. Most of my players, to be honest, I think they need to break even. And then an hour before the limo's taking them back to the airport, they have a little run. If they win Friday, they're usually writing me a check by Sunday. You know what I mean? They don't have the discipline to stop. We're all going to have that run because the margins are thin. You're going to have that run where you win 10 hands in a row. Did you press? You're going to have that run where somebody holds the dice. Your number hits in roulette. The bad news is, say you start with $100, and in the first 10 minutes, you're up $220. Take that shit home. Mm-hmm. You don't. You keep playing. That's what I mean. You need to break even, and then the last hour, and that's why I like people to have limits. Like, okay, it's 3:00 now. We're going to dinner at 6. I got to go up and clean up at 5. I'm playing 3 to 4:30, 5ish. That's it. Mm-hmm. When you sit down, I don't know when I'm getting up. Well, then you're going to get up when you lose everything. Have you ever been with somebody and they're like, you want to go to lunch? Yeah, as soon as I lose this. Well, just give it to me then. I always say, just give it to me then. You're gonna lose it anyway. What, you want the thrill of me taking your money? Just give it to me.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense because even, playing slots, same thing. You go, you're hitting nothing. Ooh, a little bit of something. Ooh, a little bit more of something.
It's like a hot stripper. Give me hope.
Yeah, give me
hope that you do really like me and you might go home with me. Just give me hope.
And then no. And then it's that I'll cash out when I'm.
And then do you have a number when you sit down? Because you said you play slots, or no?
You know what? I'll sit down. I'll put $100 in a slot machine, and if I start getting down below, and I'm low roller numbers here.
That's okay.
This. If I start getting down around 60-ish, I'm done. It's a cold machine.
Good.
I'm done. I'm walking away.
Hit and run.
And for that matter, a lot of times, even if I get back down to 100, I'm done.
Right.
If I go up and then I start coming back down, I'm like, okay, I'm
say you take
at
your
least
100
walking away
and you're up to 220. Are you thinking, okay, I'm leaving at 150? That's the key.
Yeah, I would if I hit big enough that I get up to around a 220 or 250, I start going, okay, in my head, what could I be happy walking away with? You know, I'd be happy walking away $50 up.
If you double when was the last time you doubled your stock portfolio in a day? Never.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you double your bankroll, I don't care if it's $20, 20,000. I tell people if you double your bankroll, take half home. If you start with 100 and you're up to 200, you better walk at least that session with 150. Mm-hmm. Get up. And say you're playing quarter machines. All of a sudden you're up and your $100's $200. Now go to dollar. Take that last $50, but play $1 a hand or $5 a hand. You'll take a bigger shot. Mm-hmm. I've done that with quarter, dollar, and then went to $5. Ended up winning like $4,000 because I kept pressing. I got lucky boom. And I like hitting and running too. You know, in the old days, we would do the hard drop. You know, there was actually coins before your time. And as a slot host, my job was to put the plastic buckets out at 3:15 because at 3:30 the count team came.
Right.
They were pulling out the heavy bucket, putting it in a rack, putting in the day shift bucket. You know, because this was on graveyard. Well, and people would always go, "Oh, we want to play slots right before the drop because we think that they're full. That hopper is full," and they would try to listen. Oh, if you know, the hopper was what would pay out. So if you heard clink, quick, or clink, 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 means it went all the way down. That hopper's full. It's ready to hit. Meant nothing. It's all random generator, but okay, that's fine. Yeah. Come at 3:30. That's the best time to play. Just because I was bored, you know.
Yeah. And it's funny the number of people that kind of think that, you know, there's always the conspiracy theories and, oh, this is the best time to play. And and the superstitious of the, you know, got to touch this and do that. And is it better to play in the morning versus playing in the evening? And it isn't, is it?
It's all random.
Yeah.
No, I am superstitious, I will say. Sometimes I have certain dealers when I do like to play dice. I like certain dealers on the game, not ethnic wise, just I know a couple and we have some dealers will say, that's a house dealer. You know, you're not going to win from her. I mean, she just, you know, 20 is not good enough. That chick's going to, every time she has 14, she's going to pull 7. So then I have one customer, he's from out of the country, and he brings, like soothsayer fortune teller. True story. This is in the book. $2 million guy. Of course, we're the best suites on the high floors, 30th floor of the penthouses. No, once they get in with 26 people, we have to stay on the 14th floor. Why? We have to stay on the 14th floor. I only have standard rooms on the 14th floor. I had to move out like 23 rooms on the 14th floor because that's where he wanted to stay. He still lost like $1.2 million. I'm like, dude, get a new soothsayer. I mean, if you're going to lose, at least be in the penthouse. That total true story.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would imagine, and I mean, we've talked about the things that you can do for people and the things that you've done as far as you know, fight tickets and rooms and
here it comes.
Meals.
What's the craziest thing?
Well, okay, yeah, let's go there first. What is the most ridiculous thing people have asked for that you've been able to deliver?
Yeah. One thing, you know, like I don't get customers drugs, and I think that's a big stereotype. I can count on one hand in 33 years the big guys that want to do coke and ecstasy. Those guys are in the clubs all night and watching glow sticks. My guys are addicted to tits and ass and gambling for sure. Okay, some of the stupid things. I have one player still today, and I don't know. So we have to strain yogurt, a special yogurt. The chefs, the butlers do it. They have to strain yogurt through cheesecloth. And I don't know if it's the part that drips through or the part that the cheesecloth catches, and that's his butter for his toast. Swear to God. And then he likes a certain type of Charmin something toilet paper. I think some rich people they know they're going to piss away money, so they want to make it as difficult as possible, if that makes sense. You know, and then, you know, a lot of different weird food requests. And then I have one player where everything has to be sanitized. There are sanitation wipes every 5 feet. She's total germaphobe. Well, then don't touch the chips and the money that 1 million people have touched every day. But when I pay you money, you're touching it, you know, I mean, whatever. And then a lot of my players are just, when I say quirky, they just want something different. Like one of my players loves to play pool. MGM sent him a brand new Mercedes for his birthday. I didn't send him shit. You know what I sent? Because I knew, you know, Janet Leigh, I don't know if you watch Pool, the Black Widow. Mm-hmm. I sent Janet Leigh to his house to play him one-on-one in pool. She beat him out of $6,000. They played 6 games, $1,000 a game. He's never going to forget that. I had one customer that his kid wanted a tennis lesson. I got him a tennis lesson with Andre Agassi. Tim Poster helped me do that. See, that's what's cool.
Yeah.
You know, or if the pool player too, I had him sent, and it was a custom pool stick. We spent about $6,000 on it, and when the two parts went together, a 5 and a 6 met. Yo 11 was his favorite number. You know, that I had one player where I my biggest dice player, Fast Eddie, that was in the book. I got to go all around the world with him, from Greece and Super Bowls and Costa Rica, whitewater rafting and Jamaica. He loved dice. So again, he had a huge hot springs. I had a custom eagle claw and his hot springs logo, and made him a custom dice table, all custom chips, rented a U-Haul, and I drove it up to him on his birthday as a surprise. See, it's just little shit like that has made me different. I'm just a simple guy. I use the rooms. You know, there's a great story in the book, and it's required reading at Cornell, where I got rejected. I usually start my lecture by saying I'm a 2.3 from UNLV, and you're never going to make the kind of money I make, and you just spent $200,000 on education. Why? And you're going into a business where the brave makes more than the chief. The cocktail waitress saved $80,000 this year working the pool party. She doesn't give a shit that you're a 4.0 from Cornell making $60,000 as a hotel manager. But anyway, I have no idea where I was going with that. But it's just, you know, unique things. Oh, so what I was saying is, so I'm at the Hilton, and this is in 97 or 98, and we had 3 sky villas that were 12, 14, and 15,000 square feet, 3 mini villas, which shouldn't even be called mini. They were 6,000 square feet, and then 11 premium suites, or 2 to 3,000. The criteria was 100,000 on the classic suites, 250 to $500,000 on the mini villas, $1 million period on the 3 big villas. Now, we had like 14 butlers. It's Thanksgiving. Everybody's working regardless. My boss, Jimmy Newman, was in Australia working a guy named Kerry Packer, who was our biggest player at that time. The international vice presidents were in Asia getting ready for Chinese New Year that was going to come up after the New Year's Eve. And then my other 2 bosses were gone. So Steve was like number 1, right? I was, whatever my title was, assistant vice president. You know, I'm 27 years old. So I'm like, you know what? It's Thanksgiving, and a room's just a room. I started to fill the rooms. I called $25,000 players and said, hey, how'd you like to have one of the classic suites? It's 3,000 square feet. Bring your friends. I'll serve you Thanksgiving. But I go, don't bust my balls on your airfare. I'm not paying you any hard costs. Okay, we'll come. Then I would call like $50,000 players. Hey, how'd you like a mini villa? 6,000 square feet. Bring 3 or 4 other couples. You can have masseuses all the time. Then I called $100,000, $250,000 players. One of them lives right across this road, I won't say his name, and said, man, bring 30 friends. I'm going to give you the 12,000 square foot suite, or the 15,000 Verona. So my boss calls me from Australia, Jimmy Newman. He's like, what the hell is going on? The butler's called me. He said, out of the villas, you've got 15 of them booked. The villas were the premium rooms. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to save 2 for you. Don't worry. He's like, well, who the hell do you have coming in? I said, don't worry. It'll be fine. I hung up on him. He was in Australia. Like, what was he going to do? Bottom line, net, 612,000 profit. Yeah, we didn't win $1 million, but the rooms are empty. The villas were used 30% of the year. So there's 300 days in a year, right? So 36. So 100 days a year they're used. 200 and some days they're not used. That's what makes me different. It's just a maid to clean the room. Now the butlers got tipped. They made money and weren't bored. We're paying them anyway. Their salary plus tips. The cooks are there. Let them cook. The dealers are sitting there anyway. You know, Thanksgiving, we're dead. We're maybe 50% occupancy. So out of 3,000 rooms, I had 1,500 open. You know what I mean? Use the rooms. New Year's Eve, of course not. Now, the old school of thinking, meaning the old guys would be like, well, now that player's always going to want that. No, he won't. Hey, you know, Mr. C, yeah, you come in August, I'll get you the villa. You come New Year's Eve or Super Bowl Sunday, you're not getting shit. Uh-huh. Create a trip with the product you have. I mean, isn't that business 101? I was just using the product.
And that was one of the neat things in the book, and I can see how it would be hard for people to wrap their head around that, like the old school
bean
managers.
counters.
Yeah, like the whole attitude of, yeah, what's it going to cost me? This room's going to sit empty, or it's
marble. It looks the same 30 years later. You can't beat it up. If they do, we have their credit card. We'll charge them.
You're going to pay a maid $50 to clean this room, or it's going to sit empty, and nobody's gambling.
And she's on staff anyway. Oh, yeah. And then the dealers have a chance to make some tokes. They're all pissed off because they have to work the 3 days. You know, that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The Wednesday night is the biggest bar night. Everybody wants to go out, locals. Nobody's there. They're all with their families, you know. But and we made Thanksgiving dinner for everybody. I didn't pay many airfares. Yeah, $600,000 net profit. And that little stint kind of got me my notoriety, and I was there a decade. And I kept stealing players by telemarketing, and that's what got the attention of other casinos. And my boss would get a call, and I pulled One guy off a dice game from the Desert Inn. That was wrong. I impersonated a room service captain at MGM. That's why I'm still barred from their high-limit room. Okay, I don't do that shit anymore, as far as you know. But, but that's... Look, if it's morally, ethically, and legal, do it. Don't you hate going to a restaurant and you just wanted green beans? You know they have it. Oh, but it doesn't come with the chicken fried steak. Just give them green beans. You know what I mean? If it's morally, ethically, and it's legal, just do it. Mm-hmm. The guy wants to pick out which ball spins around on the roulette wheel. We have a small ball or a big ball, so if it's a female player, we just have the dealer say, which one of my balls would you like to play with? It's funny. It's legal. Let him pick out the ball. Oh, no. Today no, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
A guy wants a private game, you're dead, give him a private game. It shouldn't take an act of Congress. As long as you bet $100 a hand, give him a fucking private game. And he'll play it 1 in the afternoon to 4 when we're dead. Swing shift? Of course not. It's a $500 game. To me, it's just common sense.
It's picking battles.
I agree.
Is what you're saying.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good one.
Why give all this pushback on something if it's not going to cost you any real huge amount. It's not going to cause any big problem. Just do it for the person.
That's why in my career, I've not played well with others in corporations. But when I worked just for Peter Morton of the Hard Rock, I thrived. Tim and Tom, I'd still be there. The young guys that owned the Golden Nugget and then sold it and made $100 million in 14 months, I'd still be there. Benny Binion, when I worked just for the Grandson at the Horseshoe, I thrived. Gary Ellis, I worked just for him, I thrived. It's a big corporation, a bunch of vice presidents. I get fired.
And, I mean, you've been here a long time now, and you've seen the changes in Vegas. Do you think it's starting to make that way back? Are the corporations finally cluing in that, what we're doing is wrong? But
kinda, I hope, we had that phase. I don't know how long you've been coming to Vegas?
5-6 years.
Okay, well, before that, like MGM for a while had a theme park. Mm-hmm. We were going to be family friendly. Well, that didn't last very good, did it?
No, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So now we're going back to what I like is adults, strip clubs. Why do you think all the conventions come here? It's 110. But we have all the adult nightlife. And now we've already got pro hockey, and the Raiders are coming next year, so that's going to be big.
Yeah. So, like I say, it's interesting to see sort of the changes that have been happening in Vegas. And like I say, I mean, they started hitting everyone with the resort fees and the parking fees. Do you think
comp drink fee,
earning your comp drinks.
I went to the Rio when my friends were playing in the World Series of Poker, and you put your card in after so much play, like you have to run $7 through it, print you a drink comp. No, man, I sit down, give me a beer. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think some like Derek Stevens downtown at the D and the new Circa, he gets the old school, and you can get a private game. And I think they're capitalizing on how stiff and stuck up the corporations are. Gary Ellis on his ads at Little Ellis Island Pub Casino says, we will always pay 3-2 on blackjack. Give the guy a break instead of 6-5. You know what I mean? I mean, you finally hit a snapper. That's a natural blackjack for those of you that don't know. And, pay him time and a half.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And do you think the big corporations are going to figure this out? I mean, gaming's down, visitorship seems to be down. Revenue in these big companies it's clearly coming from their fees. It's not coming from
the nightclubs are outdoing the casino. That was in the paper. Marquee nightclub last year at Cosmo did $71 million. The casino did $68.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are real numbers. I don't know. I think they're just not risk takers. I don't think they're going to get it, and I think that's why a lot of my players like to go to the Indian casinos because they're more old school. Mm-hmm. Viejas and Barona, and a lot of my players go downtown at the Golden Nugget. Look, $10,000 player. I love the Cosmo. It's beautiful. It'd be where I would stay if I was a high roller. You lose $10,000, you get your room comped. Mm-hmm. Maybe some food. That's it. You risk $10,000 at the Golden Nugget. Limo picks you up. You check into VIP. Get a nice suite. Wife can go to the spa. Go to Vic and Anthony's for a nice steak dinner. It's all on us. You're my guest. Man, you know what I mean? So that's why a lot of my guys, it's value. They still go to the Strip because they want to chase tits and ass. Mm-hmm. And the scenery's a lot better than downtown. I love Fremont Street, but let's call it the way it is. You got the guys that want the picture taken with the thong up their ass that are 80 years old. It's pretty vulgar.
Yeah.
But they'll stay downtown and get the value, but they'll still go to the Strip and go to the nightclubs and stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, nightclubs have really, when I first started, there weren't any nightclubs in the casinos. You'd go to Shark Club or Botany's, which were outside, and then Light Group changed everything. And then all of a sudden the DJs got big. I thought that was a fad, but that's not going away either. I mean, Cardi B, it's amazing the crowds they draw.
Yeah.
It's $60 just to walk in before you buy a $12 beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like strip club prices.
Bottle service, you're paying $1,000 for a bottle of vodka.
Sky vodka that you can buy at Albertsons for $10. You're renting space. And one tip for your listeners, look, you're 5 dudes. Everybody pony up $200 and go get a bottle so someone will talk to you. Else you're going to wait in line. We don't let dudes until 1 a.m. anyway. The girls aren't going to come talk to you at the bar. They're called bottle bitches. They're going to go to where you have a bottle in a booth. Now, when you all pony up and you get your bottle, don't drink it. Remember, there's 5 dudes, 1 drink, it's all gone. Save that for the girls. Order a beer, then when the girls come, give them the vodka. Else you buy another one. Or we'll give you that, buy one, get one free. Okay, so you got 2 bottles of vodka for $1,000 that are Sky Vodka, and they're $10 at Albertsons. But yeah. But you're renting space. If you want to go to a club and have a good time, you got to pony up. Else you're going to wait in line. It's not fun.
Well, and it's funny that you talk about doing it with dudes. Like 5 years ago, buddy of mine and I, we did a guys trip, and It was 6 of us. And that was exactly.
You waited in line.
No, we paid. We were stupid enough to do the bottle service, and I think it cost each of us about $300 a pop. And
you have fun?
We had fun.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a good time. We had
You didn't wait in line.
We didn't wait in line. We had a booth. We had a table. We had a couple of bottles. We had people around us. A dude.
You were somebody.
We felt like a person. We felt like a star while we were there. And that was.
You just summed it up, brother.
And we all said we'll never do it again. But we did it once to say we've done it. We had fun with it. We had a blast. And
were they all married dudes? If you're trying to get laid, you definitely do it. Because you want the girls to come to you. Because you don't want to be the girl in the group that didn't get laid on this trip. So,
Exactly. Yeah. It was just that was what it was. That was the trip, and that was what we did. So there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something else that they talked about in the book that I thought was interesting was you'll get the guys that will come to town that are clearly you got to push them to gamble.
Yes.
And how frustrating is that when you're setting these guys up with rooms and fight tickets and limos and private jets, and they're showing up and...
Well, the town's changed so much, and that's why sometimes downtown is easier than... I'd use the Hard Rock as an example. You get into the Hard Rock in the afternoon, it's Friday, the pool's thumping, Snoop Dogg's out there, so your girl wants to go out there, you get a cabana, it's a blast, it's 100 degrees out, you drink, you're tired. Okay, now you got to go back, shower. Now you got to take her to a nice dinner. After dinner, she wants to go see Santana. After Santana, it's midnight. The club's open. We got to go to Bada English and enjoy the nightclub. When are you going to gamble? I'm like, dude, you got to... And golf, fuck that. Golf is 4 hours in the heat, and you're going to be... So leave the golf clubs at home.
Yeah.
You're a golfer, go to Palm Springs, okay? I hate that. And I have guys that bring golf clubs just because they tell their wife they're golfing, and the clubs never get out of the trunk. I've actually made invitations to guys. Yeah, Steve Cyr's 3rd annual golf tournament. I don't golf. It's so funny. I do every now and then for like a tournament or something, but... you asked a good question. It is tough because that's part of the deal. I don't want to rent the room. If we rented the rooms, my department, player development, didn't do their job. Mm-hmm. I don't want to rent the room for $2,000 a night or whatever the number is. And no, I want somebody to risk $20,000 for that room, win or lose. And then the math works out. So, to justify that, and the bean counters are up your ass, it's tough.
Well, because they would be looking at this and going, why are we giving this guy...
I'd rather get the $2,000 a night. I gave him this and picked him up and bought him Cristal, and then he played 42 minutes.
Yeah.
And so you better lose or give me a shot at the money. And it's my job to manage those people. I think I'm pretty good at, I'm not afraid to tell a guy the way it is, and I don't have fear of loss. A lot of young hosts are like, I don't want to lose this player. I have so many players, it doesn't really matter if there's a few, believe me, my top 10, I don't want to lose any of them. But they're easy, and we've had so many rodeos together. We've screamed and yelled at each other, and they fired me, and I've told them to eat shit, and, but we, it's a love-hate relationship. I'm their friend on Friday, and they owe me $300,000 on Sunday. I'm like, dude, I'll call you in a couple weeks. We gotta start paying. You got to pay me $100,000 this month, and then they want a discount, and I can get it for you, but I need more. And remember, I don't get paid till they pay.
And so, clearly the whole idea of discounts on losses is something that's not applying to this guy sitting here paying, dropping $100 in the slot machine. No. How is that kind of determined?
Well, it originally was created to entice you to come back quicker. You lose $1 million. Of course, I'd give you 3 or 4 months to pay. I'll tell you what, but if you pay in 30 days, I'll eat 10% or $100,000, because then I got a shot at your money in 2 months instead of 4 or 6 months. A guy comes New Year's Eve and gets his ass kicked. God, I want that guy to come back Super Bowl, but he's got to pay and play. So then I go to my boss and say, I'll tell you what, he's going to eat. If you eat 15%, I'll get him to pay $850 and have him back in a month. Boom. It's air. The accountants would argue it's air. If I give you a $10,000 credit line right now, you go to the tables and lose it, I lost pieces of plastic. There's no cost of goods sold. If I owned Walmart and you go buy $5,000 worth of TVs, yeah, I made money on you, but I had a cost of goods sold. Okay, if I give you chips and you go lose them, I lost air. I don't have a cost of goods sold. It's air. So if I can get you to pay quicker and I eat a little, I ate air. And now we have to pay tax on that. And there's some other numbers that the bean counters would. But I just want you to pay and play.
Yeah.
More action. I just got a small window. Very few big players play for, they either figure it out or they go broke. I mean, I have a couple $1 million players that are so wealthy, and they just love gambling. But everybody gets a little discipline. You have. I mean, I don't care if it's $100. You get your ass kicked 5 times in a row. I'd rather go spend it on a nice dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd rather go buy something. You need to win every now and then. We can't kick your ass every time. We call it the hook. We need you to get the hook in your mouth every now and then.
I believe it is. It's state law that you have to win the first time you come to town, isn't it? That's how that works.
Well, I tell you what, I've argued with new hosts. Always say that they go, "Oh, it's his first time here. I want him to win. I want him to lose." You know why? Because big gamblers have egos. I want him to lose because then he'll come back and prove to me that he's a winner. You know what I mean? So I like to kick the shit out of the guy the first time. He doesn't want to have and say, "Oh, dude, you just can't win. God, everybody else is winning." And then they want to come back and show you they can win.
Yeah.
Okay, one more story. So I had a guy loses every time, right? And his wife always bitches at him. And so the first night he won like $15,000. So his name's Harry, and I go, "Harry, I'm going to give you a check." So I gave him a check for $15,000. Of course, over the next few days, he loses his $50,000 credit line. I gave him an extension, gave him the $15,000 check. So he loses 50. For the trip, he's down 35. He goes home, shows the wife the check. "Look, I'm a winner. I'm going to go put it in the bank." He went to FedEx and FedExed me back the check with another check for $35,000. Just so he could go home to his wife and say, "See, I'm a winner." That's totally true story.
You've gotten to reap the benefits doing what you're doing too. You've gotten to reap a lot of benefits, a lot of perks, getting to travel and do that kind of stuff as well.
Super Bowls, Kentucky Derbies, trips, Hawaii, Greece for 2 weeks on a 110-foot yacht with servants. Yeah, no, I mean, I've got to live the lifestyle of a high roller without risking or doing it, even when I was a grunt, making $35,000 a year. So, I mean, that part's been really cool, and that's why I love it. I still get excited about the job. I still get excited when I walk through a casino and people are cussing and yelling and betting. I like that type A personality. I like the guys that, again, my funnest are the people that should not be here. But they're the ones I like to hang out with. You know? They're nuts.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is people say, "Oh, I bet a lot of your big players are doctors and lawyers." No. Doctors and lawyers are stiffs. They're married to their job or their house. Okay, and good for them. I'm not the brainiac. I'm not curing cancer. But my guys are entrepreneurs. They own strip clubs. They own bars. One of my guys invented the Erie Deary lure, the flip thing on a fishing lure. But every lure it goes on, he gets a royalty. I don't think Mr. G finished high school, but he brings $50,000 every month.
Wow.
Yeah. Another guy, objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Every car that it goes on, he gets a royalty. There's over 1 million cars made a year. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
Yeah, one of my guys owns grocery stores, Another one of my guys, he'll say, "Oh, I wash cars for a living." Yeah, but he owns 17 car washes. He washes 2,000 cars a day. And he's from Wisconsin. I remember the first time I met him, I was like, hey, you must love the summer. He goes, I hate the fucking summer. I go, why? He goes, 'cause I want it sunny and 20. When it's hot out, everyone like you has a garden hose in their hand. So he lobbied that you had to use recycled water, that you have to put more salt on the road for safety, because then you have to wash it off. You know, he brings the city commissioners to town. He's smart, right?
Wow.
I don't want you wasting water. And if you have soap on the water, it goes in the drain and ends up in the ocean and kills fish. You know, so no, you have to use recycled water on every, you know, it's just kind of interesting how people make money. So he washes cars for a living, but he washes 2,000 cars a day.
But you do have the celebrity clients as well, or the celebrity customers as well.
Very few.
You know, Mike,
Montel, Michael Jordan, and that's it. And Larry Flint. Other than that, you would never know my whales. You would never think. You would think some of my whales would be like "We'll work for food" sign on the highway. You would never know they got big money. You know.
Are you getting a lot of international guys now?
A few. You know, I'm not. We have whole other departments for that, and I don't speak the language, and I'm white boy. But my first $1 million players were from Thailand and stuff, and that's other stories that I hope you buy Whale Hunt in the Desert and read. But yeah, so I'm not big international. I'm just, you know, American player, and about 70% of my players are table games, blackjack, baccarat, dice, probably more dice than anything. And then the other 40% is slots, and I'd say I'm about 70-30 women to men. Used to be 95% men.
Yeah.
More women whales now, for sure.
Interesting.
Because they're independent. They tried blackjack or craps at home online where they weren't intimidated. Now they want to sit at the table and be social. You know, the table games are social games. A slot player, he don't want to talk to anybody. I mean, you talk to people all day and this. Last thing you want to do is go talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, I like video poker because I sit in my own world and play. I like double-double, which, you know, I'm going for aces with the kicker. But, yeah, so the dynamics have changed. And I looked the other day, I used to have more of my top 70 players, my $100,000 players over 45. Now I have more $100,000 players under 45 than over 45. What's that tell you? You know, I mean, again, a third of them are going to be broke before they're 50, but God bless them.
Yeah.
And they just, gambling is not the sin anymore. Like the first story about with my mom, it's not in 2 states, it's in 48. It's part of our culture now, I guess. It's not just for the wise guy anymore, right? Just like sports betting. I mean, you're going to be able to go to the Raider game, bet the game in your seat on your mobile device.
That's crazy.
It's great.
I mean, it's great.
It's great.
It's great, but it seems crazy, and it seems like it has the opportunity to be bad. I mean, there's
going to be some bad stories.
Professional sports coming into Las Vegas was always such a big,
which I don't know why, because we are the police. You know, we don't want to fix game. That hurts us. We are the whistleblowers. I mean, you know, your bookie is going to fix the game. We're not. We need the game on the square, you know. So, but yeah, there's going to be some bad stories.
Yeah,
with the NFL here. Yeah,
I'm even surprised with hockey coming in that there wasn't really.
It's been great, and they've been great for the town.
Yeah,
I'd never been to a hockey game before. I'd never tried ice skating before, and I've done both. I suck at ice skating, but it's fun to bet them, and they've been great for the town and ambassadors. And you know what I like is we play Chicago or the LA Kings. Half the stadium is them.
Yeah, let's
say you're a Chief fan. You're going to go to one out-of-town game. You're not going to go to Denver and freeze your ass off. You're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Right? I think when teams are going to really travel well to Vegas, and we have the infrastructure, and guess what? The Final Four will be in that stadium. The Super Bowl will be in that stadium someday. The National Championship College Football game will be – we have 150,000 hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Great weather. Remember the Super Bowl in Dallas? Everybody froze their ass off. Nobody wanted to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to happen here. February here is beautiful.
You've started doing some amateur boxing, too?
Yeah.
Is this something?
In fact, right there. I'm the first over 50 to ever be licensed in Nevada, and I won at 54. So right now, 54 in 3 months is the record for the oldest Nevada amateur to ever win. So I fight again in July in a Masters tournament where there will be some older fighters. So I hope they lose, or if I beat them, I can. Or if I box them, I can only fight people over 34. I'm a novelty, so I've fought at Brooklyn Bowl, I fought at the Hard Rock, I fought on Fremont Street several times. Derek Stevens has put on great events downtown at the Event Center. So yeah, I've been doing that 14 years.
Wow.
I know.
Loving it?
Crazy. Yeah. It's ego, and cutting weight's tough at my age, but I really enjoy it, and I go to California and fight in old dog tournaments. And but the Vegas ones are great. I fight in an industry fight. I fight at the pool at the Tropicana. I'll show you on YouTube. It was amazing. 2,000 people out there. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's fantastic.
And one of my best friends is Derek Harmon, ex-intercontinental light heavyweight champion of the world, and David Sample, Coach King, Skipper Kelp. I'm around all these pros, and I'm the worst person on my amateur team at my gym, but that's okay. I don't win a round until I actually fight, and then hopefully I do. And I'm not picking the best guys. I'm trying to pick people I can beat.
It's probably a smart way to do it.
It is. Well, they're always younger, but that's okay.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. The book, Whale Hunting in the Desert, 3rd edition.
Yes. Came out in 3rd edition came out in 2015. It's out doing 1 and 2 required reading at NYU Master's Degree Stern Business College, and all Cornell seniors have to read it.
That's fantastic. You sent me the book a couple of weeks ago.
Easy read, do you think? I mean, are you a reader?
I am a reader.
Okay.
I'm very much a reader, and I'm not a fiction reader. I'm not a big fiction reader. I like reading about real stuff, and it was fascinating to me. Like I said, the things that I learned in it were amazing. Reading about.
And you're a Vegas guy.
And I'm a Vegas guy, so I love reading books about Vegas and hearing about the change and how the way things were and the way things are.
But I like that you learned. You were a Vegas guy, but you learned a lot.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I learned a ton of stuff in there. So it was a great read. I would highly recommend people pick it up. So yeah.
Well, there is a chapter on prostitution. So it's not a book you read to the kids.
No, it's not a bedtime story. I'm not going to lie. I was reading it on the plane. I was a little blushing in that particular chapter. I was like, wow, there's some stuff in this book.
It's part of the business.
Hope nobody's reading over my shoulder while I'm sitting here on this flight reading this particular thing. So, but an excellent book, and I very much recommend people pick it up.
Anybody, if you come to Vegas, at Steve Cyr Vegas on Instagram or Twitter, if you're in Vegas, text me. I try to say hi to everybody. I'm on the Strip almost 3-4 nights a week, so that's easy. If you buy the book, you want it autographed, of course, it's my pleasure. On Amazon, my publisher is local. The Las Vegas Advisor is a real cool site too. Mm-hmm. Just to plug that, if you want to come and get some coupons and good deals, the Las Vegas Advisor has been around for a long time.
Excellent. Well, Steve, thank you very, very much.
It's my pleasure.
For having me. Yeah, this is excellent. Inviting me into your home to do this, and it's very cool to do, so I really do appreciate it.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon in Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely will, for sure.